Hello, my little honey, little baby, little sweetie, little angels. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about something that's a little bit different. So I have not talked about this yet on my channel, but I am actually a licensed mental health therapist. So today I'm going to be looking on some forums on Google and asking some questions that people commonly ask to therapists. If you guys have any specific questions that you want me to answer, granted, this is not any sort of diagnosis, this is not any sort of evaluation or even analysis of anything. This just is my opinion as a therapist, reading some general comments. I don't know anything about these people. I've never met them. So I'm giving my best feedback. This is not in any way advice because I'm not them and I don't know what it's like to be them. So I'm going to do my best. If you guys have any specific questions, you can leave them down below and maybe I'll do a follow-up video to this. Okay, let's get started. So the first question says, I'm a man in the US. I am a single father that's trying to co-parent my son. Last night he slapped his mother in the face and then punched her. He's mostly a great kid, good grades, A's and B's, plays sports, etc. When he's with me, he's mostly good. When he's with his mother is when there are issues. I don't even know the full story, honestly, because his mother feels I'm taking his side. I don't condone violence in any way. I try to do what I can to help her, but she either blames me or pushes me away. I told her that we should do some research and come to an informed decision. How should I co-parent my son in a divorce situation? So what I would say about this is co-parenting is really hard. It's hard with kids that aren't having behavioral problems. So kids that are having behavioral problems, it's even harder. Now, the physical violence, I would want to know how old this child was. The fact that he's being physically abusive towards his mother is not okay. But it would make a difference to me knowing if he was 5 years old versus 15 years old. You know, if he's 5 years old and he's hitting and kicking his mom, that's more of like a tantrum situation versus if he's 15 years old and he's actually being violent and hurting his mom. So I would want to know some of those clarifying questions. When kids lash out, especially physically, and a lot of times verbally too, it's in a very, very kind of like them saying, I feel safe with you. Picture this. So in a domestic violence household, so say, just for conversation's sake, say the dad is abusive and the mom is the victim. Chances are, if that kid is going to act out, they're going to act out towards mom. And why are they going to act out towards mom? Because mom is safe. Mom's not the dangerous mom. Mom's not the one who hurts them. Mom's not the one who they see hurt other people. So it's safer to act out against mom. And so we see this a lot of times. It sounds like that may be part of the case here. Like maybe mom is seen as a little bit less of a disciplinarian, not as intimidating to the child as the dad. And I think a lot of dads just kind of get that authority just kind of innately by being dad. A lot of kids are much more afraid of their dad than they are their mom. Now, is that a good thing? Not necessarily. I think, you know, a relationship can be fostered with the mom much more closely, even if there are behavioral problems with the kid. I would want to know what's going on at home with mom and what's going on at home with dad. He says he's generally good when he's with him, and the dad seems like a well-meaning guy. I mean, he's writing and asking for help. So I would say this kid definitely needs to get some sort of evaluation. And also, parents who are co-parenting, please do not talk about the other parent. That is like the #1 tip I can give you if you're co-parenting. Don't talk shit about the other parent to your kids. Like, all it does is hurt your kid. It's not hurting the other person, it's hurting your kid. So keep that in mind. Every time you want to say something negative about them, which I'm sure you do, I get it, but don't pick your kid as the person to confide in about that kind of stuff. It makes them feel very awkward and kind of like pulled in the middle of things, and it's just not a good thing for the kid. Mom and dad need to get on the same page as far as getting this kid some sort of treatment. See what the problem is. My brain always goes to trauma, so, and it could be just the trauma of the divorce. So that's what I would say. Okay, so this one says, ever since I was younger, even the smallest actions can hurt me. I try not to show it because it bothers me, but I don't want anyone thinking I'm weak. Basically, my whole confidence is based on what other people think of me. I spend almost hours every day replaying interactions with others, trying to see if there are any signs that they don't like me or if I did something wrong. When my friends ask me to go out with them, I always refuse. I'm too scared to ask my parents because I'm scared of any type of rejection, and my heart races every time. The fact that this person, they seem like a teenager maybe to me, they have to ask their parents to go out with their friends. There is a lot of acceptance issues, possibly abandonment issues. I would want to know the trauma history for this person. And because an adult, those particular traits, some of those traits can be indicative of more serious things, such as borderline personality disorder, attachment disorder, things like that, where you're constantly seeking the approval of others, and you're constantly kind of paranoid that you said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing, or somebody isn't going to like you anymore. Or if you text someone and they don't text you right back, you get paranoid that like they don't want to be your friend anymore. So it seems like there's a lot of this going on, but the fact that she mentions that she has to ask her parents if she can go out makes me think that maybe she's just going through some teenage turmoil with like acceptance and growing up and changing and being accepted in school and possibly bullying and that kind of stuff. So this I would definitely like keep an eye on if I were a parent of this child. Right now I wouldn't worry too much. I would just encourage the child to have self-compassion. You know, self-compassion is much more important to me than self-esteem, because self-compassion is the love that you're giving yourself, and that's something really hard to learn. I think most people that are adults don't even really do a good job of that. So that's what I would try to instill in this person. My partner of almost a decade has severe anxiety and other mental health issues. Every time he thinks he's made a mistake, or that he thinks someone thinks he's made a mistake, he begins punishing himself. Think Dobby from Harry Potter. He bangs his head on the wall and punches himself repeatedly and yells that he wants to die. It usually lasts around 10 seconds, and as soon as the moment passes, he feels incredibly sorry. Nobody that would meet him would suspect that he sneaks out to his car or bathroom to harm himself. This isn't something he does to get attention or manipulate me or others. He's typically alone when he does it. He's been in many kinds of therapy and treatment for years. Okay, so there's some self-harming behavior going on. Again, I would want to know how old this person is. I'm assuming just from what they said that this is an adult. They're in a relationship, they live with their partner. Anytime that there's any self-harming, point towards trauma. Like there's some sort of trauma that has happened in this person's life that they need to get to the bottom of it. Now, I don't think it's attention seeking from what this person said. I agree. I think that it does put up big warning flags, and the fact that he says that he wants to die, this is a really serious thing. I would take this very seriously, and I know he said he's in therapy, but if you ever feel like you're in therapy and you're not getting where you want to go, or you feel like it's just like not going anywhere, it's stagnant, find another therapist. Like, you can break up with your therapist. It's not going to be the end of the world for them. If you're not getting the treatment that you need and you're not progressing in the way that you need to be progressing, you are better off going to someone else and starting over. I know it sounds daunting to have to like tell your story all over and start over with someone fresh and new, but honestly, it will be so helpful and you'll be so glad you did. And I tell my clients that all the time, like, if you're not feeling this, if like we don't gel, if our personalities don't mesh, if you just feel like you're not making progress, just let me know. Like, I'll refer you somewhere else. Like, I want you to feel better. I don't want you just coming in here and like us staring at each other for an hour. The treatment that I would suggest for this person would be EMDR treatment. Not every therapist can do this. You have to take a special certification to do this procedure. But EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so basically what that is, you take your brain kind of back to the trauma or the target, which I don't know what it would be in this person's case, but I'm assuming they would, and you reprocess the memory that they have that got stuck in the processing because of the trauma that occurred. I would suggest that, or possibly rapid resolution therapy. So something trauma-based, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, something like that might be helpful for this person. So the next one says, I proposed an open relationship to my wife for years from the very start of our relationship, and she was sometimes ambivalent. We never got around to agreeing on the matter. We got married just last year after a long relationship of 13 years, and I branched out of our relationship before the wedding, having 5 one-night stands. After our honeymoon, I confessed to one of the infidelity. She reacted negatively, but now she's doing much better. She has even considered having a sexual experience herself to even it out. She also confessed to having kissed someone as she was already suspicious of me. Sadly, and maybe surprisingly, I am the one who's feeling worse, as I'm going through awful guilt, remorse, shame, depression, and anxiety due to my actions, and of course, not fully confessing. I am now clueless as to what to do next to save our marriage and heal each other. Should I finish confessing and propose an open marriage as a middle path / salvation one last time, or at least liberties for her since I didn't wait for her? Should we separate? Should we just tough it out with counseling? Here's the thing, guys. I am very, very open-minded when it comes to sexuality. I think that whatever you're into, and like, I fully support that. But when you decide to have a life with someone, you need to make sure that your idea of what is acceptable sexually inside and outside the relationship and their idea of what is acceptable are the same. This is where we get into a lot of trouble. If one person thinks that having an open relationship and having sex with someone else or kissing someone else is not a big deal and they still love their partner, move on just like normal, and the other person doesn't, that's going to cause a huge problem. It sounds like in this particular instance, the wife isn't really into it. It sounds more like she, in the beginning, was just kind of like appeasing him, and I would bet that she actually does not want any part of this. When it says that she went out and kissed someone because she suspected him, it sounds more of like a revenge or like a vindictive kind of behavior, not like an actual like, this is pleasurable for me, I'm gonna go do this. This relationship sounds very unhealthy, and it wouldn't have to be though. That's the thing. Like, I don't think that having an open marriage is inherently bad. I just think that both people need to be on the same page, especially if you're married. Like, if you want to have an open relationship and try it out when you're dating, like, you know, do that. And if you're both into it and both consenting to it. But once you're married and one person is just very adamantly against it, I just don't see the point in being married. I really don't. And again, I'm very open-minded about marriage. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that it's good for some people and it's not good for other people, and you have to decide that for yourself. But this person seems to feel a lot of guilt, and I think it's probably because they get the sense that their partner is not okay with this and they did it anyway. And that happens a lot with people with infidelity, and that's what I would refer to this as, infidelity, because if she had agreed to an open relationship and he had slept with these 5 people, that would be different. But she never agreed, did it behind her back, and he's now not totally confessed to all of the infidelity. He's only told her about the one person, which I guess there's 4 more people. So he's feeling a lot of guilt. Keep in mind that in a healthy relationship, you should be able to express to your partner what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And it seems to me like the female in this relationship is holding back. Warning signs in my mind. Like, why is she afraid to tell him how she really feels? Is she afraid that he will reject her? Is she afraid that it will end the relationship? Is she afraid because of other reasons? I'd want to know why they don't feel comfortable speaking openly to each other about those kind of things. Because honestly, if 2 people are in a relationship and it's an open relationship, or they have, if they are having sex with other people, or they're having sex together with other people, and everybody's on the same page and we're all consenting adults, like, it really doesn't have to be messy. But when it gets messy is because people aren't communicating with each other. So communicate with your partner. Open communication is key. Okay guys, that wraps up my video. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. If you like this kind of video, comment down below. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your girlfriend, tell your grandma, tell your kitties about my video. Send them over here. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the love. I appreciate it so much. And please go out and give someone a compliment today. It will make you feel good. It'll make them feel good. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.